Okay, today we are playing a game on King's Row. The average SR of this game was 1,930, and we will be playing Zarya on attack and Soldier 76 on defense. And our current team composition is D.Va, Zarya, Genji, Junkrat, Mercy, and Ana. So, quite unremarkable. Not quite the most unremarkable team it could be, but it's pretty close. The only thing really is that if they have a Pharah, we're going to be a little bit upset about that, but defending team is not too terribly likely to have a Pharah. At least out of the gate, anyway. So, let's just start the game. So we're attacking first, as you might have been able to tell. Here comes some Symmetra stuff. That's like free money right there. If you're playing Zarya, you see this orb coming towards you. And there's lasers out here as well, which, I mean, I guess we don't know right now. But if we just shift ourselves, walk through this ball, then that'll get us most of the charge, and then these would get us the rest of the charge. We end up getting 40% charge anyway, right as we come up to the gate, so it ends up not really mattering, but that was some free money right there. So, they have a Symmetra, which is inconvenient because we don't have a Winston, and we have a Genji who's about to get wrecked by the Symmetra. It's okay, Mercy's in the game, and currently unnerfed, so she just reses him. So, a string of terrible things is about to happen to them, which leads to them losing this point, and there's very little they can do about it, because they lose their Symmetra, and they're about to lose their Winston since he was purple. Mercy reses the Winston, but then Mercy dies in retribution. So, they currently have no healer. Their Symmetra died before she could put the teleporter down. And, yeah, they're boned. There's nothing much they can do about this one at this point. And we're high charge. Oh no, they do have a healer. They have a Lucio. You know, a healer. So, yeah, they're boned. There's not really much they can do about it because they lost too many important people too quickly. And it takes us a while, but we're gonna capture this point, and there's not really very much they could have done to stop it. So, we don't put our bubble on the D.Va, even though she's currently being microwaved to death. Not quite to death, but being microwaved out of her mech by the Symmetra. So, we don't want that to happen, obviously. We've been nano-boosted, which is quite sad, because nano-boosted Zarya is not the best thing in the world, but at least we have high charge right now. So yeah, D.Va ended up losing her mech because we didn't bubble her. So, that's less than ideal, but like, they're still gonna lose this point. Like, there's nothing they can do about it. They lost too many people too quickly. So, here, I think we break away because we think the teleporter is up there, and we're gonna go and try to break it. Zarya's really bad at going to do this kind of thing because she's slow. Because obviously she has no movement abilities. But also, she just wants to be with her team. Because like, one of her abilities is useless if she's alone, and she just kind of wants to be near people protecting them. So like, don't go and do this unless the teleporter is somewhere like you can get to conveniently. Like, so if you're fighting here and you think the teleporter is like right here, okay, fair enough. You're not exactly going very far out of your way to get it. But if you feel like you gotta go on a journey to get the teleporter, it's not really worth doing as Zarya. You're better off just leaving a more qualified member of the team to do it. Fairly common mistake I find people make is they try to do things that their hero isn't really very good at doing. Because I assume because people are like, I gotta carry the team, so I gotta compensate for them. Just like, do what you're good at doing first, and then worry about covering for other people. So, here, we've got Graviton. We built it up really quickly, though we didn't need to use it during that fight because you saw. So right here, like, there's a pretty good opportunity for a Graviton right here, because bam, that's 4 people right there, including both of their supports. Well, I guess all 3 of their supports, because Symmetra is in the support tree, but we all know better. She's really a defense hero. So, I take that one right there. It could have ended up being awkward because of the Symmetra shield, but like, we want to use all ultimates in the game, basically, with the exception of, like, Primal Rage. You want to use them as quickly as possible so that you can start working on your next ultimate, right? Because, basically, the team that ults more is probably the team that won. And you want to be like, we've all played the game where the enemy Zarya seems to always have her Graviton. Part of doing that is using your Graviton at the earliest opportunity. So you can start charging the next one. Right there, we could get 4 people. They would die, because our team is close enough to capitalize on it. D.Va even does this, which makes it double sad that we didn't actually use the Graviton a second ago. Does get the Symmetra still, but then she gets res by Mercy. So we could have taken that ult right there, and it would have been a good ult to take, especially since other people actually had their ultimates, just as a general thing. Press tab, like, a lot. In general, oh, poor Lucio. Just in general, push tab a lot, because who has their ultimates is important information, but especially if you're playing Zarya or Ana, you really want to know when people have their ultimates. So they have a Pharah now, because they've noticed that Pharah will be really strong against our team, which she is. We again didn't put our shield on the... That's way too loud if someone talks. Not much talking happens in this game. We didn't put our E on the person who was getting microwaved again, and the Ana ended up dying as a result of that. She probably would have died anyway, because that just happened, but Genji just used his ultimate, by the way, so he's really low. If you don't think they're close to use it, if they're like less than 40% away from using their ultimate, just use the Graviton, because you don't want to be sitting on your ultimate for a really long period of time. We have been sitting on this one for a while now. Part of it is that, like, we got it really early in the fight, and we didn't need to use it in that fight, because it was basically one person staggering in for a long time. But now we really want to be using it as quickly as possible. So we've been pretty high energy for most of this fight, so charging your ultimate is not an issue if you're out high charged. That one's a bit optimistic. Just like as a general thing when playing Zarya, the most common mistake I see people make as Zarya is they try to use their bubbles predictively, whereas it's more of a reactive ability. Because what happens, like, all the time is the Zarya puts the bubble on themselves, or they put the bubble on the other person before they start taking damage, because they're like, oh, I'm about to start taking damage, or he's about to start taking damage. And then what happens, like, 80% of the time is the person goes, oh, wait, got the bubble on him now, hold on, okay, now I'm gonna start firing. It's harder to stop yourself firing once you've already started firing. And then just like on a more base level, if the person is already shooting at you, they are going to shoot you. At least a little bit, because they aren't going to see the bubble and the frame it appears stop firing, right? They're going to shoot you at least a bit before they stop themselves. So it's better to just wait until somebody starts taking damage and then bubbling them, because you'll always get some charge out of it for that case, for using it like that. And then just like, try not to use them predictively. Unless you're absolutely certain the damage is coming for them. Like, if you see a Genji flipping around a Mercy with the Dragon Blade out, yeah, he's gonna cut the Mercy. Don't really need to hold off on that one. But if it's a more, like, neutral position, try to wait until somebody has started taking damage and then use the bubble. I'm not saying wait till the person is, like, half dead and then do it, because you can take that too far the other way. It's just, you will get at least some charge if you use your bubble that way. Instead of none, like in this case right here. So, this is kind of hindsight's 2020, but the ultimate we end up using after sitting on it for so long is, like, not very good. We're about to use it. Probably wanted to try and catch Mercy with it as well, but she's way too high up in the sky. Or maybe the Lucio as well. It ends up not working out. King's Row is actually... Because here's the thing with Graviton, it sticks to walls, right? One of the cool things about Graviton now is it can kill Mercy out of Valkyrie as long as you catch the Mercy. King's Row's got a lot of tall walls. You can actually just flick the Graviton up at the Mercy, or like, well, not like at the Mercy, ideally it catches somebody on the ground as well. But you can flick it like halfway up a wall. That'll catch the Mercy and people off the ground as well. So... It is a good ultimate for killing Mercy, provided you catch the Mercy in it. And we do obviously want to kill Mercy out of Valkyrie. So now we're fucked, because we got caught in their Graviton and they had Barrage to use with it. Yeah, you know, you're gonna get fucked. So, as you can see, that ultimate was a lot worse than the one we could have taken earlier. It also, if you think about the way the game went as a result of not using that ultimate as well, right? It's one of those things that could decide the outcome of the match, because think about what happened after we didn't kill them with the ultimate, right? Symmetra got picked off, but she got rezzed by Mercy. Symmetra was then able to go back into the bar and set up her teleporter, and then that caused the whole team fight in that area that ended up leading to us getting wiped. If we just catch all of them in that Graviton right there, they all die, that fight never breaks out, and we get to push it way further. And Symmetra gets to put down her teleporter as she's regrouping, or probably a shield generator, honestly, because her whole team would be reinforcing at that point. But, like, by that point, we're almost at the end of the checkpoint. And then hopefully, like, we've got like another ultimate we can use to get over that last part, or we just pick them off as they're running up to the point. It's the sort of thing that could have decided the entire outcome of the game. It didn't, because they don't capture the first checkpoint. But that's the sort of thing that could have decided the entire outcome of the game, because us not taking that opportunity actually ended up leading to the enemy team getting an opportunity to wipe us. And that can decide the entire outcome of the game. So, didn't matter in this case. Can very easily matter. So we're waiting for our team to regroup right now. Our Junkrat has just killed their Pharah, which is very depressing, frankly. But she's alive again because Mercy's in the game. Fun and interactive abilities. So, Winston, not allowed to be doing that. We didn't get very much charge out of that one because they just kind of stopped shooting at us. Yeah, you know. Their team in general is a little bit difficult to get charge off of because, like, Zarya and Winston are not going to give you a huge amount of charge. Most of their team is actually, like, just getting killed right now because Hanzo just killed Winston, and now their Lucio is also dead. Now, Symmetra might give us charge as long as she actually, like, starts again, wait for her to start microwaving you, and then put it on, and then you'll get some charge out of it. Whereas if she's just not doing anything, she's like, okay, I'll just wait a second, okay, now I'll go for it. So, we ended up using our bubble a little bit early. Why did we do so? Because I didn't actually catch us using it. We just used it on cooldown immediately because of Pharah. I mean, we're in the middle of a fight, so it's fair enough. It's also kind of like, well, probably better to save it, like, if you're playing against someone like Pharah or Junkrat as Zarya, part of the benefit of playing against those heroes is their projectile. So they're actually you can just see the attack coming and then bubble and block that attack and then hopefully a following attack because they probably were just pushing the button over and over again. Rather than just like using it immediately. Part of it is like blocking shots as well. But we were in the middle of the fight, so probably just more concerned with, yeah, I'm in the fight, so I'm going to use the bubble. And then it just kind of ended up being that Symmetra came up right up on us as well. But, like, they've still lost this fight because they died in a really awkward way, so now it's just that they're constantly fighting 3v6, basically. So we get this checkpoint as well. And we don't get it all the way to the end of the track, but they don't capture the first checkpoint. Not to spoil the surprise or anything, but yeah, we win this game. So, we're getting a little bit overeager right now, because we're low-charge Zarya. Playing Zarya is very simple. If you're high-charge, move forward and bully people. If you're low-charge, sit back and play passively until you're high-charge. Then go start bullying people once you're high-charge again. Because a zero-charge Zarya moving forward is like the least threatening thing in the entire universe. So, armors... Ooh, Hanzo! I don't know about that one, buddy. He sees that Pharah using Barrage, and what's his immediate response? Dragons. Could have probably just shot her, actually. She's a little bit stationary when she's ulting. Pretty easy to hit. Don't quite need to use the dragons, but, you know, whatever. That's fine. So that was the best combo we had on our team with Graviton. Excuse me, Jesus. But we're about to have Graviton. And he just used Dragon Strike. So, we're basically just gonna not worry about that right now.
Did you see where the shield gen was?
GG crap Pharah, even though Pharah's like carrying their team. But, you know, whatever, that's fine, you know. So, like, the Widowmaker problem, right? Simultaneously being accused of aimbotting by the enemy team and being accused of being trash by your own team. So, anyway. Hanzo just used Dragon Strike, so we're not concerned about comboing it because he's at 0, we're at full. We're just going to take a Graviton opportunity as soon as we see one. Unfortunately, he just used a tire, which is kind of a combo. That right there is where I take the Graviton. You're not going to catch very many people with it, but you're going to catch the most important people with it. Because if you throw it like right in the center of these people right here, you catch Mercy, Winston, and Lucio as he comes out of the res. They lose both their supports and their main tank. Again, they lose the fight. It's that simple. And their whole team is not in a position to catch up to them and try to, like, protect them or anything like that. So, like, that's where you take the Graviton. It's not like the big 5-man flashy play. You only catch 3 people. That's half their team. but you catch their 2 supports, which is the important thing. If they lose both their supports, it's just over. You can't win the fight at that point, barring, like, divine intervention. And they lose their main tank for good measure, so that was, like, the perfect time to ult, really. D.Va ends up throwing her ultimate in and catching Mercy and Symmetra with it anyway. But if think about it, if we catch Winston, he's dead, he doesn't get to do this, he doesn't get to be massively inconvenient while we're trying to do this push right here, and Lucio doesn't get to be alive either. So we get them right there, and it looks really good. I'm like, nice, got their whole team. They've got their Graviton, and they've got Barrage. So they just use both of them in Retribution, and it ends up not being the end of the world, but it killed our tempo, and we lost Mercy in the middle of it as well. So we're pretty fucked right now. Currently, we're fighting throw yourself in the pit because of the timer. Our whole team's dead. We're not going to win this fight. We've only got time for 1 push. We really don't want to die staggered right now. So, like, we're going to lose the fight. We really just want to, like, either back out or die quicker so we can regroup with our team. We end up dying, and this would be the worst time in the world to die because our whole team is reinforcing right as we die, but Mercy's in the game. So it ends up not mattering. But again, didn't matter in this case, can matter, because imagine we don't get rezzed here, we die right as our team is reinforcing, we force them to fight 5v6 in the last fight of the game, which is pretty terrible. Part of Overwatch, especially as you get higher, is about dying as quickly as possible. When you recognize the fight is lost, and you either leave quickly, or you die quickly, so that you can regroup with your team quicker and then start fighting faster, right? Because one of the biggest problems, especially in lower SRs, is, with attack specifically more than anything else, is it's very hard to push into the defending team at a numbers disadvantage. It's basically impossible. So, the way to look at it is, realistically, the only times you actually get to attempt a push that has a chance of winning is when it's 6v6. And the thing that happens in lower SRs is people don't want to wait. They want to actually wait for their team. I'm gonna win this fight somehow, even though I'm Roadhog in the middle of 6 people, so I'm gonna, drag this death out mad long. And all that ends up happening is they're super staggered from each other, and that affects how many times you actually get to push. Because, imagine the worst possible thing keeps happening, where, everybody wipes, and then right as 5 people are recollecting, 1 person dies. Well, now we gotta wait for that person to actually get back before we have a chance of fighting again. But that's gonna take 20 to 30 seconds depending on the map, because he has to respawn and then get back. 20 to 30 seconds in the best case scenario could be an entire other push. Because assuming everybody collects quickly after dying and then you push in quickly, you can get 2 attempts in per minute, basically, assuming everything goes really well in collecting and pushing in quickly. So, if you throw that off by 20 seconds, you miss out on an entire extra push attempt, right? So then, this just keeps happening over the entire course of a game, and this is why in low SRs, attacking seems so much harder than defending, because teams stagger so much that they end up getting significantly less pushes in, because it's Temple of Anubis, right? Don't capture the first checkpoint. But they only ever actually had 3 attempts to push in, because they just staggered their deaths so much that there ended up being 3 actual pushes they had a chance to win. But then as you get higher in SR, defending suddenly gets harder and harder and harder as you climb up, because teams are better at just dying quickly. Also, the defending team is better at killing people, so, because also people are bad at killing people in low SR. So, as you get higher, people are better at dying and waiting for people and actually recollecting. So, you suddenly have to endure twice as many pushes as you did in lower SR, which is why defending gets progressively harder as you climb in SR. Because slowly, the attacking team actually gets more attempts in. That was a kind of long-winded tangent point off of one thing right there. But I do think it's important to illustrate why staggering deaths is such a terrible thing to have happen. You just lose out on extra attempts to actually push into the enemy team, is the short version of the story. But I think it's also important to illustrate why that happens. And this is why I end up just going on and on and on and on and on and on for like half an hour, because I like the sound of my own voice, basically. So, we're playing Soldier now, on defense, and we're standing down here, which is fair enough. We got a Reinhardt to stand behind. Sometimes you want to stand up on the high ground behind you, but this is fine. We've got a Reinhardt in the way, and that's not the best high ground in the game anyway. So, we've killed their Pharah, awesome. We've got a Bastion as well. He killed their Reinhardt. We've lost our Symmetra before she could put the teleporter down, which is of course tragic, but we have a Mercy. Isn't it amazing how so many situations end in, and that's awful, but Mercy's in the game, so it was actually nothing. A little bit harder now that it has the cast time. You can't go in and get as many reses anymore in between encounters. He's not allowed to do that. Just like kicks his get his legs kicked out from under him, and he comes tumbling into the Bastion. That is like, I think back to when I was really bad at Overwatch. I'm still bad. When I was worse at Overwatch. It felt, when I was playing Reinhardt, I'm like, okay, I'm gonna charge the Bastion. Alright, I'm gonna charge the Reinhardt through, the Roadhog through the whole hog, because it feels like you should be able to do that. You're like, I am big, strong German man with hammer. I charge him. Doesn't work, you get killed. But, oh, do you feel like you should be able to do it when you start playing Reinhardt? So, we end up getting killed by Junkrat Shrapnel. Basically, don't do that. I hate seeing people go res in chat like that. I hate that. If the Mercy can res you, she's going to res you. Don't do that. I hate that. Basically, because when I'm playing Mercy, I hate it, because I'm like, don't you tell me what to do, bitch. Even though I know that's probably not what the person means, it's how I choose to take it. It's like it's like a chat message. I think this would be like the best change in the game to reduce salt from healers, implying healers could be less salty. You know how it says, I need healing? I would think it would drastically reduce salt if instead when you push X it went, X requests healing. Because then it's like, oh, I'm not, they aren't saying, I need healing. It's like, oh, they're hurt. Okay, I will go and heal them, instead of being like, oh, bitch is telling me what to do. I don't want to do that. I feel like this is an incredibly minor change that would actually reduce salt levels drastically. I don't remember what the original point of that was. Oh yeah, don't do that. So we ended up dying to Junkrat Shrapnel. Basically the thing to say is dodge better, even though that sounds drastically unhelpful. Junkrat only kills people, like, he doesn't know, right? Like, he's not trying to kill you in that position, he's just throwing shit over the wall. So, it's predictable damage, so you can just dodge it, but like, that's a skill that you have to develop, like, actually dodging Junkrat and like Pharah bombs. It's a skill that you work on, over time. So, now we're up here, Mercy's using Valkyrie. Quite a lot of our people are dead. We end up jumping off the high ground. We don't want to do that, because standing up there is, like, good, especially as a fight is breaking out on the point underneath us, because we can just kill them as they try to walk forward, and we're hard to kill because we're on high ground. Ends up not mattering. Again, we have a Reinhardt to stand behind as well, so it's definitely not the end of the world, because there is a Reinhardt down here for us to stand behind, but high ground is pretty sick. So that Pharah just got absolutely wrecked, which is sad for her. Roadhog is not allowed to do that. Zenyatta shouldn't have done that. A drastic panic reaction right there. Like, oh god, flanking Roadhog using whole hog. That's not scary. It was pretty scary. Wasn't actually, was it? But, I felt scared at the time. It's just because you're a little bitch, actually, you know? Zenyatta players are generally little bitches, but, you know. So, we've got... Ooh, that's an optimistic one right there. I'm gonna use Earth Shatter, and I just hope he does something to take the shield down. That didn't happen, did it? No. So we're just gonna duck around the side to get up here. We've got Tac Visor, so we do wanna get up on the high ground to use Tac Visor. We're just gonna use it to kill the Pharah, and we end up killing other people as well. Even if we just kill the Pharah, frankly, worth it. I hate Pharah. There's been a lot of cases I've used Tac Visor or Deadeye just to kill the Pharah, because, man... You can usually get the Mercy as well, because the Mercy is usually with the Pharah. That's a fine time to use Tac Visor. We even repositioned up on the high ground before we actually used it, so that's good. Because you do want to be on high ground if you're going to use Tac Visor, ideally. For a variety of reasons that are probably fairly self-explanatory, because we just talked about why high ground is cool. So, tires coming, tires broken. Not something you see
Don't
every
run
day,
away, or did you get-
but it is
Why not?
dead now. Junkrat is jumping through the air in front of us. If Junkrat's
Run away, or did you
gonna
get-
do that,
Why not?
that's
Back.
actually kind of a predictable movement because he can't alter his momentum super well in the air. So it's kind of like skeet shooting, ideally. Right here, we've just run underneath their Farah, I'm pretty sure. Yep, Farah's right above us right now. We do have to be looking around to make sure we aren't getting flanked by Farah as Soldier, because it's kind of our job to deal with that if it starts happening. But also, we're trying to reposition up on the high ground, I think, beforehand as well, which is also a fine wish. The enemy team really just doesn't know what to do. So that's cool as well. Because, I mean, we just saw Roadhog attempt the flanking whole hog while his entire team was dead. Yeah, they don't really know what they're doing. They're pretty bad, actually. Probably because they're in silver. So, it's generally going to be how it is. So, Reinhardt's still not allowed to do that, and he ended up dying. At least this time Roadhog was using whole hog, so, you know, there was something happening when he decided to do that, but no, he was still not allowed to do that, so he ended up dying. And we win the game. Excellent. So, we had Tag Visor as well. Didn't need it. They didn't know what to do. They did not know how to attack. Our team comp was not even very good, but they didn't know what to do. Unsurprisingly, Farah has gotten it off of this play right here. So their Farah is probably like, see, I wasn't useless. Look, I got play of the game. Didn't Zarya actually get play of the game? What? No, look, it's me. You know how it is. So, biggest thing that stands out in this game is basically ults as Zarya, because we had some pretty sick opportunities to ult people, and we just didn't take them at the time. And there were two, like, really good ult opportunities in there. And the two of those two opportunities could have decided the outcome of the game. Especially the first one, because, I mean, it's kind of hindsight's 2020, but we get to look into the future and go, this happened because we didn't take that opportunity, so if we did take that opportunity, it wouldn't have happened, and maybe this would go completely differently in a parallel dimension. So that's like the biggest thing that stood out. Not too terribly much other than that, honestly. It was a pretty good game. There was some of the predictive shielding as Zarya rather than reactive, but the thing that like really stood out to me was the ultimates, because we missed two pretty good opportunities. So, thank you very much for watching if you did. If you have any questions, feel free to ask. I'm more than happy to answer, and I hope you found the video helpful.